Alright, there we go. So, was the fall of Diablo 4? Well, if you like that game, I'm sorry, but the numbers are saying Diablo 4 is falling. Was the fall of Diablo 4 that rise on PoE players is becoming pretty good? And a lot more people are trying PoE for the first time. And for me, Path of Exile is the peak of action RPG genre. It is, I think, the best game in that genre, hands down. With the amount of content and the mechanics, crafting, currency, everything is just super cool. However, being top genre also has its cost in complexity. The game is complex and requires some mental investment in order to understand the game, the mechanics in the game, how to play, how to be efficient, and Path of Exile can be a little bit harsh as you cannot respec as easily if you break your character. And it gets easier the more you learn, and Path of Exile is an experience that you have to learn from your mistakes. That is the experience of Path of Exile. You make mistakes, you learn from those mistakes, and then you make a new character or the next league or whatever. You learn from those mistakes, and then you will have a better understanding of the game. So, the game is free on Steam. Feel free to just go download it and start trying it out for free. The moment you install the game and open it, you will be greeted with this menu. It is your typical login menu. You choose a server. You can choose the least ping that you have, or just click auto select. It will auto select, I think, the lowest for you, and then you just click login, and you will be greeted with the screen here. But of course, you will not have any characters. This will be empty. And you will have the create option enabled. So you click create, and this is how you start Path of Exile, your adventure in Path of Exile. So you have the option of choosing the league that you want to play in right now. So the league is basically a season in Path of Exile. A season is the idea of new mechanics are introduced in the game, and you can experience them directly in that league. However, if the league mechanic was successful and people liked it, it will be implemented into the standard league, which is basically the league that has all of the core mechanics that were implemented in previous leagues, but you cannot play the new league mechanic, which is Ancestor as of now. Also, all of the currency and all of the items you collected on your characters in the league will be transported into the standard league. So standard is basically everything in the game that has been implemented previously, and all of your characters that you played, and all of the currency as well. However, you will not be able to play the new league mechanic, which is, as of now, is Ancestor. So the Ancestor League, everybody starts fresh when the league drops. You do not have characters, you do not have currency, and everybody just starts from the beginning to collect currency and get the best items you can to defeat harder content and so on. Typical action RPG gameplay. So for purposes of this video, we will be starting an Ancestor League, and I'll be making a new character from scratch, and we'll be running through Act 1 together, explaining as we go. I think this is the best idea, or the best way to explain Path of Exile, and it's a very complex mechanics. You'll see that you have a few options here, like Solo Self-Found and Ruthless. Solo Self-Found is basically no trading. Your character will not be able to trade with characters from the league, and you will have to craft your own items, farm for your own items, and stuff like that. Hardcore, which you will find on the standard league here, or you can play the new league on hardcore mode. It's basically when you die, that's it. You move into the standard league. You will not be able to continue playing this character anymore in the current league. So it's like one life kind of stuff. I don't recommend starting with that, because if you don't know what you're doing in Path of Exile, you will die a lot. And that's part of the fun. That's part of the make mistakes and learn from the experience. And then you get Ruthless is just a different experience that will give you like item scarcity and a lot of other changes that I'd never recommend for a beginner at all. If you want to learn more, you can visit this URL here, pathofexile.com/ruthless. But for me, I am not going to use that, just to make it easier for myself to explain the game. I'm going to choose Ancestor and click OK, and then you will be greeted with these characters, which are 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, to choose from. So Path of Exile, you have character classes that you can choose from, and they determine two things. One, the starting position on the passive tree, two, ascendancies. I know we don't know, we have not talked about any of these, but just for the sake of this tutorial, I will start with something very basic that can easily be understood by everyone, even if you're not an action RPG gamer. I will start very simple and just choose the witch, which will let me start around the int or intelligence part of the tree, and will let me use spells, very easy spells like firebolt, electricity, like arc for example, or freezing pulse, which is a cold spell. So we'll just be casting spells as a sorceress. She's called a witch in this game, and that's what I'm selecting. You can check all of these characters on your own, because each one of them has its own ascendancy, which we're going to talk about, and they start on a different position on the passive tree. I know we have not seen the passive tree yet, but we will soon. So when you click on a character, you will get a little...
Arieth is our mother. When a daughter strays from the light, she makes herself an orphan. Learn well the lessons that Rayclass will teach you, witch. It is your only hope of finding your way home.
I don't believe him, but anyway. When you select a character, it will give you like a brief biography of why this character is being exiled. So just a brief story. I will not do any spoilers in the story. I will try to skip as much dialogue as possible, so I don't ruin the game for people that want to experience it for the first time. But basically, you choose one of 7 exiles, and each one of them has been exiled or is being exiled for a different reason. The witch that I'm choosing is... well, I'm not gonna spoil it actually. You can just look it up or like experience the game yourself. So basically, I'm choosing the witch, and I'm gonna name it 47 witch. That sounds good. And I will click OK, and we are loading into our first area, which is a Twilight Strand. Taking a bit, give it a sec, and we spawn in this area. You will spawn in the same area, whichever character you choose. However, this weapon right here, or your first item, will be different depending on the character that you chose. For example, I have a wand because I am a witch. However, if I was like a ranger, which is the archer kind of type in Path of Exile, I would have a bow here, and so on for every character. I'm gonna click skip all tutorials here because I don't want like pop-ups to interrupt me. And this will be my job to give you the tutorial, so I'm just gonna skip that. And I am going to left click so my witch wakes up.
There's a power here that welcomes me.
Alright, at least she's positive, you know. So we're gonna pick up the wand by like left clicking on it, and I will click tab once to open my inventory. This might not be tab for you, it might be I, but I have some different keys that I changed for my liking. So I click tab to open my inventory, and you will see a few slots here and something called Scrolls of Wisdom. We'll talk about all of that in a bit when we get to it. And this is our dying exile, and he has an exclamation mark on top of it, which means he has a quest for us. And the very first thing you want to do is talk to this guy. I am going to skip dialogue so I don't ruin it, and the corpse just wakes up and eats our guy.
You'll soon rise for me, not against me.
So yeah, when we kill this guy, we will get your first gem, which is how skills work in Path of Exile. So I'm going to pick up the fireball, open my inventory, and let's talk about gems. So gems is the way that you will get new skills in Path of Exile. Unlike other games like Diablo or Lost Ark or whatever, you gain skills by leveling up depending on your character and stuff like that. But in Path of Exile, it is gems. So any character can use any gem or any skill as long as you meet its requirement. For example, if we start reading the gem requirement here, you will see that it requires level 1 right here. And since I am level 1 and I am able to use this gem. Alright, so how do I use this gem? You will see on the weapon that I picked up, we have 2 slots here, or sockets, and they are colored blue, and you will notice that this gem is also blue. That means if I left click, I can socket this gem into this socket or slot. So I can slot the gem in the socket, which if you notice here will give me fireball skill, which means I was successfully able to implement this in a weapon or in a socket, and I got the skill corresponding to this gem. So now if I right click, you will see I can cast fireball, which consumes some mana and has some attributes to it, which deals 9 to 14 fire damage, and it has a 25% chance to ignite enemies. So ignite is basically setting enemies on fire, and they will take fire damage over time. One thing about Path of Exile to note that every single line matters. So every line, you have to read it word for word because it is literal. And that's something Path of Exile does like very, very well. So we have our first skill and we slotted it into the first socket. Now you will notice there's a link here. We will talk about that when we get our support gem. So let's keep moving. I'll just keep holding left click. One more thing before we continue is, you see the default attack here? I don't want that. I want to only move when I'm holding left click. So I'm gonna click on it and just choose move only. What will that allow me to do is, if I click on an enemy with left click, I will not attack it. I will rather just keep moving, and that's what I want. This is useful so I don't accidentally click on an enemy while trying to move, and my character will just stand still trying to attack it. So let's loot this corpse. We got a flask and we got armor. That's fine. We'll just equip it. Since I left clicked on it and I did not have an item in that slot, it will automatically equip it. So now we'll just try to kill these guys. We did. Now let's talk about flasks real quick. So I picked up a small flask here from this corpse. This corpse acts like a chest or a loot item that you can just click on and it drops random items. Flasks are basically your potions in Path of Exile. So you have 2 types, life and mana. However, when you progress more, you will see that there are also some utility flasks, which will give you specific things based on what the flask does. For example, you can get a Quicksilver, which lets you gain 40% movement speed. There is a defensive flask that will let you get more armor or have more elemental resistances, which we're gonna explore more the more we talk about defenses and elemental damage and armor and all of that stuff. And if you click C to open your character menu, you can get a basic idea of the armor and your evasion rating and your elemental resistances, stuff like that. But we'll get to it when we get to it. So since I am low, or well, not full at least on health, I'm gonna click 1 to use my small flask. You will notice that it decreases a bit. That means I used a few charges of the flask. How many charges you use depends on the flask and also depends on the affixes the flask can have. What is affixes? We will talk about it in a bit when we get to item rarities and how items work in Path of Exile basically. However, one more thing to notice about flasks is that the more you kill monsters, the more charges you gain. So there is nothing special to do to fill your flasks. You basically just kill monsters. So let's kill these monsters. I will keep clicking 5 to use my mana flask and recharge my mana. So if you notice this dropping a bit, that's because I use it and I will be recharging my mana with the flask. Iron Greaves, which are basically boots. If I click on it, because I had no boots, it's gonna automatically equip it. If I had boots, it will go into my inventory. So let's kill these guys. Good. We got these boys right here. You will notice that items have different socket colors and links. We will talk about that a bit more when we get to support skills in a second. Now barrels, these are like loot chests. This one exploded, so I took a little bit of damage. That's fine. I picked up a shield, which I do not intend to keep, but better than nothing. And we keep moving up. We find a few zombies. What am I aiming at? What are you aiming at? And what? This guy dodged and he died. You will notice that the impact of the projectile did not kill it. However, it died on its own. That's because it was ignited. So you remember this 25% chance to ignite enemies? This procced or happened on this enemy, and it took damage over time, fire damage over time to be specific, and it died. That's why it died on its own. I will try to show it more clearly. So you see this guy is burning, but he died of impact. That's fine. If you click, I think it was M or no, I don't remember the default button. But anyway, if you open up your options and you go to input and then you search for your map key or overlay map, will be here, and you click that button, you will have this overlay map which can show you where you're going. Basically, to have the map the same way I do, yours might look a bit different, but to have it as I do, I will need to remember how I did it, honestly. Oh yes, there we go. So it might be something like this, but for me, what I did is I just put the transparency on all the way down and zoom all the way down, so that way it is max zoomed out and there is like no landscape transparency. So basically the map looks like this, which I think for me it is much easier. Then you click save and you have the map the same way I do. So you will see that this is like basically the fog of war if you've played any RTS games. So basically you have not explored this area before. So you keep moving towards this blue line in order to explore the area. Now this large chest is special because when you open it, you will get your first support gem. So a support gem is basically a way to support your main skill gems, like Fireball here for example, and make it work either in a different way or give it an extra power. So if I talk about Fireball here, what it does is deals 9 to 14 damage, like fire damage, and 25% chance to ignite enemies. So here we get Arcane Surge, which if we read the blue lines, it says gain Arcane Surge after spending a total of 15 mana on upfront costs and effects of a supported skill. So meaning this Arcane Surge buff, which looks like a buff, we will get it when we spend 15 mana of the skill that is being supported by Arcane Surge. Arcane Surge grants 10% cost speed. So, okay, what happens when I get this Arcane Surge? What does it do? I get 10% cost speed, increased cost speed, grants 30% increased mana regen rate. So my mana is gonna recharge 20% faster. Arcane Surge lasts for 4 seconds, and supported skills deal 10% more damage while you have Arcane Surge. So, Fireball will deal 10% more damage whenever I have the Arcane Surge buff. So, to put it or to use it, I'm gonna put it in the next socket here. However, you will notice that this works because there's a link. So what does this link do? Basically, it links all of your sockets together, so that way when you have a skill gem and a support gem, they are able to affect each other. Without this link, Arcane Surge will not be supporting Fireball and it will be completely useless. Okay, one more time. Without this link right here, so for example, if my weapon was like this vest right here, even if they are two blues, but without a link, then Arcane Surge would be completely useless. You'll notice that I cannot socket Arcane Surge here because it is red sockets instead of blue, but the color of the socket determines which skill gems you can use in this socket, and the links between the sockets determine if support skills are able to affect main skills. Since both conditions are valid here, so we have a blue socket and it is linked to Fireball, which is the other blue socket, that means Fireball will be able to proc Arcane Surge, and I will be getting its effect whenever I spend 15 mana costing Fireball. Now, since Fireball costs 7 mana, it means I need to cost it 3 times in order to get Arcane Surge. And there we go. You'll notice this little circle running around me, or like orbiting around me, and there was a buff on the top left right here. So if I cast Fireball 3 times, because I need to spend 15 mana, so 7 and 7 is 14, and 1 more is 15, I will get Arcane Surge, which gives me the increased damage and the mana regen rate and the cost speed. Also, one more thing to notice if you have a keen eye is that the description of Fireball changed whenever I added Arcane Surge. Now, the description of the skill on your hotbar is gonna change to reflect the skills that is supporting this attack or the skill gem. Meaning, you will see that now it says Arcane Surge grants 10%, grants 30% mana regen, gain Arcane Surge after spending 15 mana, and Arcane Surge lasts 4 seconds, and then it fires 1 projectile, 25% chance to ignite enemies, and it deals 10 to 15 fire damage. So if I remove Arcane Surge, you will notice that all of that description is gone. When I put it again, the description is back. And this is perfect because this will give you like a very decent overview of what your skill does with its support gems. So if you do not understand exactly what a support gem is going to do to your skill, just socket it and read the skill description. 99% of the time, it will give you exactly what you need. Alright, we talked a lot. Let's continue. We are continuing on this. I will keep the overlay map closed. I like it open most of the time, but I will keep it closed just so we have like better visual and no clutter on screen. So, wait, this guy is not dead. Kill it. We see we have Arcane Surge now. We are gaining some mana, but our regen rate is bad. So I will keep using Flasks.
And I thought I'd be a dead woman by now.
Alright, we gained our first point, passive point, which we can use on our passive tree. Now, the passive tree is a big topic in Path of Exile, and it is one of the main, if not the main, reason people quit Path of Exile the moment they click on this button. When I click this button, do not panic, do not scream, like grab a chair, sit down, and be ready for this, because it is massive. And it will let you question if you want to play this game or not. When I click here, be ready. I will give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Let's click it. And this is the passive tree of Path of Exile. And it is humongous. It is very big. So what is the passive tree? Basically, it is a tree that will give you, well, passives, which is gonna determine your build. In an action RPG game, you make builds, you loot items, you get better items to make better, or to fight better content, and gain better items for better content, or harder content, and so on. This is the loop of action RPGs, right? So the passives is the way that you make builds. However, when you first look at it, you will get mad. Yeah, this is madness, right? However, I want you to completely ignore everything on the map or on the passive tree and then just zoom in on your character. Now, you will notice I am starting here because I picked a witch, and you will see her lovely icon right there. So this is one of the points that I said on the login screen, that your character is going to determine where you start on the passive tree. So this tree is the same for every character you choose, right? This is whatever you choose. If you choose a ranger, if you choose a marauder, whatever character you choose, it will have the same tree. However, you will be starting on a different place. Since I chose the witch, I'm starting at this cluster right here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ignore every single thing, and I will just zoom in so I can only see the two options that I can choose. I can either start here or here, right? So this is exactly how I want you to check the passive tree. Do not get overwhelmed by how big and how humongous it is. Because in reality, in your first build, you are going to make mistakes. You are going to break your character. You are going to die. And this is exactly fine. It is fine. This is the how to play Path of Exile, or how to learn Path of Exile rather. Because without doing mistakes, you will not be able to learn. Now, there is one other option that most people will recommend, which is following a build guide. YouTube and the forums of Path of Exile are filled with very, very good beginner-friendly builds that you can start. However, for me, I did not like this because I wanted to understand what makes this build work. Why is this build a good build? Why is it beginner-friendly? And for me to learn that, I had to just go blind, fly blind, and tinker with the passive trees and the items and all of that stuff. However, I am working on a very, very simple build right here that we will be running together. I'll be working on freeze pulse, which is cold damage, and a witch, which is intelligence based. So I want to get as much intelligence as I want and as much cold damage as I want. And then defenses, we'll be talking about that in a bit. But this is basically my build. Just get cold damage, as much as cold damage as I can. So, since we'll be starting very, very slow and we will take it step by step together, I will be starting by picking up this passive node, which gives me 16% spell damage. Spell damage here means fire, lightning, and cold all together. So it's not specific to one type of damage. It is every spell damage. And it will give me also 16 to maximum mana. So I'm gonna click this and I'm gonna click apply point. Now I picked up this passive point and I'm going to exit the tree. I know we did not give the tree the amount it deserves of attention. However, if we do that, we will be talking for hours and we will not be playing the game. It will get boring, it will get overwhelming, and we don't want that. We are just starting out and we only really have two options. We can either choose spell damage or defenses, which is energy shield and maximum mana. What is energy shield? It is basically a shield over your life, which is 0 out of 0 right here. So if I get this energy shield thing, I'm gonna have an extra layer of protection above my life, which auto regenerates on its own. Like I cannot use a flask to recharge energy shield, for example. Well, with some exceptions, but for now, just think of it as an extra layer above your health. Let's keep moving and killing these zombies, or drowned, whatever you want to call them. And this is our first boss. Come on. He's the boss of this training area. I'm going to run away from him a bit and let him try to chase me. And I'm going to use the range of the fireball in order to attack him from a safe distance. Now he has this one mechanic where he pulls a sword out of himself, healing him in the process. I do not know why or how. But anyway, I will be moving far. He is a very easy boss if you have range. However, if you have a melee character, you want to get close, attack, and then run back to avoid his very short range of attack, and then run back, and so on. And we will keep doing that. So I picked up an item here. You will notice it's blue, and you have white items as well. A cap. I'm gonna get the cap, no cap, because I had no cap before. Now, blue items. So items in Path of Exile come in 4 rarities. Normal, which is white, magic, which is blue, rare, which is yellow, and then uniques, which are like unique items that they're on their own standards. So a blue item right here is gonna have affixes. So what are affixes? Affixes basically are one of two types, a prefix or a suffix. So a prefix or a suffix is called an affix. And these affixes are gonna give your items extra power on the item instead of its implicit modifier. So what is an implicit modifier? An implicit is just an stat that is built into the item type. So for example, this plate vest armor, or this plate vest chest piece has armor as its implicit modifier, and then the number can become a roll of a range depending on the item level. I know we're getting a little bit too complicated here, but just understand this is an implicit and this item is unidentified. Since it is blue, that means it has affixes on it, but it is unidentified, which means we need to identify it somehow. How can we identify it? With these babies right here, the scrolls of wisdom. So you see I have 4 and it just identifies an item. If I right click on the scroll of wisdom, it is now attached to my cursor, and I left click on the vest, and you will see now it becomes Beetle's plate vest. This is random, and you will see that it has 2 new affixes on it: 7% increased armor and 6% increased stun and block recovery. So you will see that the 7% increased armor actually changed the armor value of the implicit on the item. And this means that without this 7% increased armor, I was gonna have armor 26, if you remember. Now I have armor 29. So we now understand what this affix does. It gave the item 7% increased armor to its implicit, right? So this is not global. You will not increase your armor globally by 7%. This is local to the item. So that means the implicit armor is going to give 29 instead of 26. If I look at this armor, it is 26, this one 29. So immediately I know that this is better, right? Now, 6% increased stun and block recovery. Basically, when you are stunned or when the enemy blocks, you have 6% increased time to recover from this stun or block. This is not very useful for me as a ranged character, because very, very little I am going to get stunned or blocked, since I'm not a melee character. Now, this armor, you will notice that it is probably better suited for a melee character, right? And you would be right. However, since I don't have any other options, and armor is a very good defensive mechanic in the game, so it is not limited to only melee characters. Every character can wear whatever armor as long as you meet its requirements. So we talked briefly about prefixes and affixes, and we talked very, very briefly about currency, which Scroll of Wisdom is the first type of currency we will encounter. But let's move on, and we will get to more items and more currency the more we encounter them. Now, this spike I don't care about. It's a one-handed sword and not useful for me or my character, so I will just be moving on, and we will get into the first town in the game, which is the Lionized Watch. Okay. It's lagging a bit just while it's loading. My processor is not that good. And you will notice here our first friendly guys that we are facing. These are real players. However, when you're playing out in the wild, like out of town, you will not see anyone except your party members if you're playing with friends. So this is a waypoint. This is basically your fast travel point. Just like the, what was it called in Diablo? Portal or something? Anyway, like you have these waypoints also in Diablo, and you just activate them by clicking on them. You have to click on them, and you can use them to teleport anywhere. Every town has one, and it will be automatically activated for you when you enter the city for the first time. So we'll keep moving. You will see some NPCs right here. These are real dudes playing the game, and we will be talking to these NPCs. And here you have a choice of A first gem. These are mostly skill gems that you can use to change like the first skill that you used. I'm going to pick Freezing Pulse, which is what I'll be using for the majority of this, actually for all of this video. So I'm going to replace Fireball with Freezing Pulse, and now I deal cold damage instead of fire damage, which is fine. Now I am skipping dialogues, so I do not I do not spoil anything. Feel free to read these things and enjoy the voice acting. It is really good in the game. I don't need this fireball gem, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to sell it. It will give me a scroll fragment, which 15 of these fragments, or sorry, 5 of these fragments is going to transform into a scroll of wisdom. This is basically a shard or a fragment or a piece of this scroll of wisdom currency. This is your stash right here. You will not be having these things when you open up your stash, and actually this is very good. You see when I stack the fragments and I had 4 and I stacked the one I got 5, it transformed into scrolls of wisdom. Now I know we have not talked about this currency, but I'm going to ignore them up until we get to them, like we pick them up and get to some crafting. Your stash will probably look more like this instead of something like this, and that's because I paid, and this is one of the microtransactions in the game. Microtransactions in the game are only for convenience or quality of life stuff. I do not think that Path of Exile is a pay to win. Actually, far from it. It is maybe pay for convenience. However, if you are willing to spend time and effort playing the game, it is more than recommended to buy at least the currency and maps. But we will talk about these when we get to them. So in your stash here, feel free to stash whatever you have. And let's move on to the coast. Don't think we need to talk about anything else in the city as of now. We picked up all the quests. Oh, one more thing about Path of Exile. You don't...
I know that stench. Just like my sisters.
Damn it.
Upon the pyre.
That threw me off guard so much. I don't think I ever heard her sniffing like that. Anyway. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Path of Exile. You do not need to pick up quests. So the loop of going back to... I know this is here and I'm ignoring it on purpose. Basically, whenever you go to a new area and you have not moved, you get this grace period, which gives you like a minute of not being damaged. So in case you go AFK for some time or something, you get this grace period thing. So now when I move, the buff disappears immediately. Anyway, I was saying that in Path of Exile, you do not need to pick up any quests. So that means when you get more seasoned with the game, you do not need to keep going back to city, talking to NPCs, picking up the quest, and then going. You can just keep, like, continue going on your way and doing the quest without actually picking them up from NPCs, and they are going to count perfectly fine, as if you picked them. But you will have to return to town in order to get rewards from these NPCs, which I think is fine. Now the game, I should have said that it is for mature people. It is very dark and it has some disturbing stuff, but I think you already knew that, giving Steam recommendations. I think Steam tells you this game is for big dudes only. So now I'm using Freezing Pulse instead of Fireball. And Freezing Pulse deals cold damage and has a chance to chill enemies, which lowers their... Oh, I want that. Wait, gauntlets? Oh yes, we don't have gauntlets. I can get that as well, which gives me... Whoa. Oh yeah, you saw that frozen guy right here? Chilled enemies also have a higher chance of being frozen whenever you deal cold damage to them. Silver coin, okay. I wanted to ignore this for a bit. Actually, I'm gonna pick it up and ignore it. This is the new league mechanic that we have currently, which is Ancestor. But I'm going to ignore it on purpose for now, up until we see other league mechanics and talk about them right there. So let's kill these bad dudes. These are actually cannibals. They're more than bad dudes, but anyway. We got a portal scroll, which is our second currency, and it basically opens up a portal to the nearest town in the act that you're in. So, meaning if I use one right now, it's gonna open a 2-use portal, meaning I can take the portal to city, and then from the city, take the portal back to wherever I called the portal from. I am gonna keep it, I'm not going to use it right now. But just know that this is not the only use for a portal scroll. You can also use it for trading,
Learn is to live.
which you can trade with some NPCs, buy some items that will require. And that is fine. We gained the passive point. I leveled up. Again, I will not be bothered to go through all of the paths and all of the potentials in the passive tree. I'm just going to pick increased spell damage, and then I am going to walk this path of getting more spell damage up until I get to Arcanist's Dominion, and then from then we will evaluate our choices. And this is how I want you to wait. This is a boss, or a mini boss rather, which I need to focus on killing. Her attacks are pretty easy to dodge if you are a ranged character. Now she's gonna do a flame dash on you. However, she is not a match. Anyway, she's not a match for our babe right here. Now a plate vest. I'm going to pick that up. Oh wait, I can replace this shield with this shield, which also has a 22% chance to block and will give me 14% increased damage. So it's both defensive and defensive. Pretty good. I'm going to use that instead of my weird what's it called? This tower shield, which only gives me armor, and I'd rather have spell damage. Now I picked up this unidentified vest. I'm going to identify it, and this one gives me plus 12 to armor, which is better than this percentage because this is 12 flat armor. So now I have 37 armor from the implicit instead of the 29 here. Pretty good so far. Now these dudes right here are just elimination. Pick up the scroll of wisdom on the way. Use a flask to recharge my mana. Why are you chasing me, man? Yes, destroy these guys. And you will see there's a waypoint right here that we will soon go to. Whoops. Did not mean to take a hit there. Alright. Now, while you're running around, you will come across these things. These are basically lore stones. So you click on them, you get a story. Very good, very well acted. The story of Passive Exile is great. Read it, do not ignore it. Do not do what I'm doing right now, but I'm just like trying to avoid spoilers as much as possible. This is our first map waypoint, not a city waypoint. When you click on it, you will have this map right here, and you will see this is the town. If I click on it, I will fast travel to town, basically spawn on the waypoint in town. This is an area where I was, where you spawned in. Hope was around here. Basically, this what is it called? Hollow, empty circle means there is no waypoint to be activated here. Now, if I move away from here, you will see that it has like a big big blue dot in the middle. This means there is a waypoint and it is activated. And I will show you once we have a place that we visited has a waypoint, but we did not activate it. it will have a different circle. These areas mean areas that we have not been to before, so unexplored areas. And we will go to Tidal Island right now in order to finish the quest, which is finding medicine chests. Keep moving. Kill these dudes. Kill, kill, kill. Superior Iron Hat. Okay, what is superior? Superior is basically an item that has a quality on it. So you'll see that the quality is 11%. Now, what quality does in Path of Exile, it basically increases the implicit modifier on the item. So normally, if I have a regular Iron Hat, it will have less than 13 armor on it as an implicit. However, because it has 11% quality, it has more than the original roll of armor on that helmet. And some guts hanging over there, that is fine. Kill these sirens. We have some dudes. Now you'll notice the freezing pulse penetrate. Oh, this is one of the hardest early on dudes that you will be fighting. His AI is not that smart, but if he hits you, you will be chilled for so much, you will be slow. So if you're playing a melee character, I suggest you kill his minions first, these guys that were with him, and then focusing the big guy. That's because if he chills you and you will be super slow, these guys are gonna deal a lot of damage on you, like they will use that chance. So, okay, this is a yellow item, that's good. I can talk about rares now. Glass shank, I don't need that. I don't need any of these. Wait, chain boots, nah. We gained a passive point. Like I said, we will keep going this way while ignoring the passive tree because we don't want to get overwhelmed. So you can keep exploring this area, killing every monster. Not bad. Over leveling. So I'm going to replace this flask with this flask. What I did here is I got a medium flask which holds more charges and it restores more mana. So you'll see this recovers 70 mana, but this guy recovers only 50. So I basically threw away my old small mana flask and replaced it with a medium one, which is very, very good. Over leveling in Path of Exile is kinda useful, and for me, it is more fun. Okay, you will see that this item right here has a different color. It is like whitish background. This is called this is an item that can be used in a vendor recipe. I will explain that once we get back to town in a minute. Let's keep killing mobs. We get more lore stones. I will skip that so I do not spoil anything. Let's try to position ourselves correctly here so we can penetrate multiple dudes with our freezing pulse. Right here you will see that a gem, I just clicked that subconsciously, a gem has leveled up. So you'll see here that this gem is about to level up. Gems gain levels when you gain experience. They do not split experience. They do not like take from your own personal experience. No. You gain experience as a character to level up, and then gems as well, like side by side, parallel. You gain, they gain as well experience. So do not worry about like contesting. And you will see here that this gem leveled up. I will click this plus button to level it up. Leveling up gems basically make them stronger. Like their benefits will be better. So we'll go here. You'll see that there are some dudes. Orb of Transmutation. I am going to pick it up. It is one more currency that we will talk about in a second. Now it is a good time to use a portal scroll. Now I can show you something cheesy here. If I log out, so basically I exit to character select and then log back in to the same character, I will be in town. Now people at the start of the league, what the hell is that? Oh, never mind. So people at the start of the league will keep doing this in order to not consume their portal scrolls, which is, I don't know, up to you to choose. I don't like it basically, or personally. It feels like I'm cheesing the game and I don't like to do that. So I am again going to get a Quicksilver here actually, which will give me increased movement speed. So this is a flask, but it is a utility flask. It is not a mana or health. Now I also have an option of choosing a support gem, which I am going to choose, I think, proliferation, which gives me increased duration of elemental elements. So if I use this on freezing pulse, it will apply chilled for a longer period of time on an enemy. Also, it will spread to other enemies within 1.2 meters and 20% chance to freeze, shock, and ignite. So this means it's going to increase my chance to freeze, increase my time to freeze and like from the chill on the freezing pulse. So basically I have a higher chance to freeze, and when I freeze an enemy, it's going to spread to other enemies in 1.2 meters, and it will have a longer duration. So enemies will be chilled for longer and frozen for longer. I'm going to replace Arcane Surge with Elemental Proliferation. Now, can I only have one support gem? Absolutely not. You can have as many as you want, or as many as the item can support. But in my case here, I do not have any more sockets and links. That's why I'm going to replace Arcane Surge. I'm going to keep it in my inventory in case I run into a better item with more sockets and links. So you will see in this head that I have 3 sockets, but they are red. Can I change the colors? Yes, I can, with one currency called the Chromatic Orb, but I am not going to spend that on a low item or a low level item like this one. I'm going to replace my health flask with my Quicksilver. By the way, whenever you get back to town, your flask automatically refill to max, so that is a good way if you are low on flasks. You can use a portal, come back to town, flask will refill, and then take the portal back to wherever you pulled the portal from.
Got a job for you.
So you get a job for you, or for me in this case. Oh yes, let's talk about the yellow item right here. If I use a Scroll of Wisdom to identify this item, you will see that it gives you more stats than a blue item. So comparing to this blue item, it has 2 affixes, and yellow here, it has 4. Yellow items or rare items can have up to 6 affixes, 3 prefixes and 3 suffixes. So what is the difference? Well, affixes are split into prefixes and suffixes, and each one of these has its own pool of stats that can roll from that pool. So for example, all resistances are suffixes, as an example. So if your item has an open suffix on it, you can craft a resistance on it. Now this is a little bit into advanced crafting stuff. We will talk about these when we get into the more crafting area, which will be included in this video, but I'm going to talk about it in a very, very simple way, or like the most simple form, the simplest form of crafting, because it is a very complex topic and it deserves its own video, but we will pass by it. You can argue that identifying an item is some sort of crafting, but we'll talk about real crafting when we get to it. Now, you might say, like, immediately, well, let's just throw away our wand and use this wand. You'd be right and wrong at the same time, because if you notice, this wand has a green and yellow sockets. However, I have 2 blues for my main skill and its main support skill, which is Elemental Proliferation. Meaning, if I throw away this wand and use this wand, I will not be able to use Freezing Pulse with Elemental Proliferation. You will see here that I have sockets, but I don't have the correct colors. And if I have two blues right here, but they are not linked together, there is no link right here, which means I will not be able to use these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw away my shield and pick up this wand right here. So this one gives me 9% increased spell damage, 12 to intelligence, which is pretty good, 24% increased spell damage, so that's even more spell damage, awesome, 20%, or sorry, plus 20 to maximum mana. This is flat 20. So my mana before this item will be 90. If I add 20 to 90, that will be 110. And then there has to be something that gives me more mana, which is, where is it? Intelligence, yes. I get plus 12 intelligence from here, right? And you will notice that if I click C and open my character menu, you will see that per 2 intelligence I gain 1 mana. So that means I get 6 mana from this plus 12 intelligence. And that's why we end up with 116. So before this item we have 90. If I apply it, I gain 20, and then I gain 6 from the 12 intelligence. So we gain 26, which is 116. Okay, pretty good. Now one last thing to talk about while we're here is this special item. Now you will notice that this item has 3 sockets, and they are of the 3 different colors, blue, green, and red, and they're all linked. If you come across any item that is like that, pick it up, sell it to a vendor, and you will see he gives you a chromatic orb in return. This is a very, very good way on stacking up on chromatic orbs, because you will need them to change the colors of your items, of the sockets of your items rather. So meaning, if I have a blue and a green here, I can use a chromatic orb for a chance to have 2 blues or 2 reds or 2 greens or whatever I need. Of course, the chance is random, but it is not fully random. There are some constraints to it, which we will talk about once we get to crafting portion of this long video. I am just going to store my currency. I'm going to sell this item because I do not need it. I'll also store the silver coin for now because I don't want to talk about league mechanics as of now. I will actually sell this flask because why not? And arcane search, I'm gonna keep it in my inventory in case I get an item that I can use 3 sockets on it. Now I'm going to use the waypoint, go back to the coast, and we will be going forward to the mud flats, which is the next area. Alright, here we are. Now this area is one of the hardest areas, arguably, in the early stages of the game because of these little roas. Now these guys are gonna like bull rush you, like what they are doing right now. And if they hit you, they are going to stun your ass in place. And there will be many of them. Or if there are many of them, and they do that at the same time, they will allow other enemies to get close and stun kill you, which is annoying and bad. But because of my freezing pulse, I am able to slow. Oh wait, the superior medium life flask, big. I'm going to swap away my flasks. Also superior here means also it has quality, so 5% quality. Which makes it restore more. So now you'll see it recovers 158 instead of the default, which I assume was 150. So because of my chilled and freeze, it slows down the roas, and when I freeze them, basically freezes them in place.
I think this ray class will serve.
So you will notice here that these roas actually had a blue name instead of the regular white name. Why is that? Because even enemies in Path of Exile can have modifiers. So even enemies are rare and magic. And well, I don't think there are unique enemies. I don't remember seeing one. But there are bosses, which you can count them as unique. So now one of the, please don't rush at me right now. So one of the what's it called, objectives that we're doing right here is destroying these Rowan nests and picking up these items. I also have a passive point which I'm going to keep going into spell damage, which increases my spell damage. Now you'll see this guy is chilled, that's why it is running up slowly at me. Okay, I've been hit. Oh, no, no, no. Nope. So just keep moving. Standing still in passive exile is a death sentence. You do not want to do that. This frog is just chilling in the grass and there is like a massacre happening around it. But no fucks were given that day. Pick up these. I know I picked up a transmutation orb and an augmentation, I think, before. I did not talk about these. I will when we talk about crafting in a minute. Not exactly a minute, but when we do some objectives and I get an item that is actually worth crafting on. Another silver coin that I will pick up and just ignore for now. Now there's an amulet right here which gives me increased mana regen rate. Not bad. Destroy the nest. Freeze the boys. Do not let the roas get close. Just run away, get yourself some distance. Well, unless you're playing a melee character, which I think would be a bit harder. But if you can like keep your distance. Alteration orbs, also one more crafting currency that we will be talking about. I know I keep saying currency and it is literally a currency. This is not a metaphor. It is a literal currency that we can use to either trade items with NPCs or even real players, because that is the currency being used in trade with players. Now you'll notice this guy, he is a blue guy or a blue name, and you'll see he has fire and ignite resist. Of course this does not apply to us with cold damage, but he also gets some more health. Now you'll notice this guy is I think this is a unique enemy. You might want to call these uniques. He has like a name and he's stronger, but he dies just like everyone else. One more passive point, more damage. Or just farm these dudes. And I can use my Quicksilver to gain increased movement speed whenever I want to zoom around the map a bit. Alright, where are we supposed to go now? I think we're supposed to go towards the north a bit. Now these sirens are also annoying. They can chill you with this attack, if I remember correctly. But we're not giving them a chance. I think it was here, if I remember. And the answer is nope, I am wrong. Let's go towards the south a bit. Oh wait, there it is. I didn't even notice that. So I do not have any charges on my Quicksilver, so that's why we're gonna take the slow route. Hello, sir. It should be from here then. Yes. More roas. These guys are annoying. This will take us back to the, or not back actually, it will take us to this area right here, the fetid pool. Which, well, you can hear the Darth Vader breathing right there. So an objective here is to kill everything and everyone here. And that is fine. Exactly what I'm gonna do. Now, oh, I forgot to explain that for you as a beginner, you might not have these colors. So this item might drop, but it will not look the same for you. It looks this way for me because I have wait, how do I open? Oh, I have a loot filter. So you will see here something called an item filter or a loot filter. You can get these on NeverSync. So if you just go to Google and type NeverSync and Path of Exile, you will find ways there to implement a filter that is fully customizable. So when you get more into the game and you want to filter loot down to your specific likings, you will be able to do that very easily using NeverSync. So for now, just keep looking at items that would work better for you. Also, if it can be used in a vendor recipe, like the chromatic orb one that I showed you before, which has the 3 colors and links on an item, then pick those up and sell them to get chromatic orbs. This is one of the easiest way to stack up on chromatic orbs. Now it is much easier for me because I'm using a filter. Again, just go to NeverSync and get yourself an item filter from there. Now these dudes are blue, that's why they have more health, but my chilling and freezing is very good because it just makes them super slow and locks them in place. Now we will keep looking for the dude to kill here. There is spoilers alert, there is a necromancer here that is raising the skeletons, and we will kill it and kill all the skeletons. Oh, this is perfect. Now you see I have a simple rope which is which has 3 sockets, 3 blue sockets with links. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna replace my armor and I'm gonna put my gems in there. Now you will see Freezing Pulse is being supported by Elemental Proliferation and Arcane Surge at the same time, because this item or this rope has the sockets with the correct color and links at the same time. So if I read Freezing Pulse now, you get a humongous description, but it's actually very easy. Basically, it is the stats or like the effects of Elemental Proliferation and Arcane Surge at the same time, which is perfect. Now if I cast what's it called, Freezing Pulse, you will see that I gained Arcane Surge right here, as well as Elemental Proliferation, which gives... Whoa. Oh, I almost died there. I should not be talking while fighting Roas. Even the goddamn skeleton Roas are scary, man. Come on, not like this. Alright, I'll just spam it. So this guy will not attack. Okay, never mind. He will attack you once he gets super close with a very, like, not scary elemental attack. Physical attack. But his main thing is spawning these rows. So you just focus him down, kill him, and that's it. So we have a large life flask. It gives me 250, so I'm gonna yeet this away. Put this here and put this there. I always want my strongest life flask to be on number 1. This is how I have it organized. Now you will see that even though we killed the necromancer, we still need to kill all mobs in this area. So let's go searching. This area is not very big. It's like this little area around, and we will soon kill everyone. Augmentation orb, we will use that once we get back to town. Let me just focus on killing these Roas because these guys are actually scary. Alright. Let me go here, get Arcanus Dominion. Now, when we gain the next level, we will be talking a bit about the paths that are available to us on the passive tree. Destroy these dudes. Our gem leveled up. Why not? Now, oops. Alright, anybody hiding here? Nope. I'm looking at the mini-map here while I'm running away. So I missed someone probably in this area because it is not explored. So I'll go back. Oh, yep, here they are. You will see here 5 monsters remain, and they are probably here, and that was correct. Right now you see the fog cleared up, and we killed everyone in this little area. I'm gonna use a portal scroll right here to just eat myself back to town. And we will be doing our very first simple crafting. Let's talk to this guy, Tarclea, I don't know how to say his name. He will give you a book of regrets,
Stay sharp out.
which is not his autobiography. It is basically an item that will give you passive respec points, meaning that now you see you have 2 refund points back. So I can click refund the passives and then click on the passive that I want to refund, and I can click apply in order to apply this refund. I don't want to do that, so I will just click cancel. One more thing to notice, if you're holding control and you click on a passive item, it will insta apply it without having to click apply. So just be careful of that. Also, respecing in this game, it is not so easy. Like these refund points, it will not be like you will not gain a lot of them. Like you cannot do a basically full respec. That would be very, very expensive. But it is like if you choose one wrong node or you change your mind, like you can refund 2 nodes and then go another way or something like that. That is fine. That is fine. You will have like a few nodes for that. Let me just store these things right here. Now these items are quest items. Let me go sell this and get the chromatic orb. This is one of the vendor recipes that I use most of the time. And these are the items that we got from destroying the Rowan nests, if you remember, when we were destroying the Rowan nests. Now, talking about crafting. So to craft on an item, since I have this currency tab, which is a paid tab, a paid stash tab, to get it, you can click M in the game to open the microtransactions. You can go to stash tabs and it should be the currency stash tab. It is 75 gold, which is basically, if you buy points here, or points or gold or whatever you want to call it, 75 is like less than $10. And for me, because I played the game quite some time, I think it is very, very useful to do that. You can also buy some other cool stuff, like for example this pet right here, which is just gonna be a pet following me around. You can also buy some gem skill looks. So my freezing pulse, for example, if I click K, excuse me, and click on freezing pulse right here, I can click purchase items and you will see it will filter some stuff that you can buy for the specific gem. So if I buy this and apply it, it will basically change how freezing pulse looks. It's like a skin for the gem basically, or for the attack. These are only cosmetics. The only thing you can buy is basic in microtransactions are cosmetics or quality of life, like more stash tabs or some specific tabs like this currency one. However, if you don't have the currency tab, that is also fine. You can craft in your inventory or in anywhere. But for me, just to show some different stuff, I am going to pick up my armor, remove all the gems and put it in the middle here. And I'll start crafting on it with a transmutation. So basically a transmute or a transmutation, it's going to upgrade a normal item to a magic item. So this is a normal item, right? It's a white item, and it will, if I use a transmute on it, it will be a magical item, meaning it can have up to 2 affixes, 1 prefix and 1 suffix. Is this useful? Of course it is, because it will make this item more useful. It will make it do more stuff, give it more stats. And this is what we're going to do right now. I am going to use a transmute. Now you will see I get plus 12 to intelligence. But wait, we only got 1 stat. What happened to the other? Well, you can call it the beauty or the frustration. Basically, it is random. When you use a currency item, it is random. So we got it to a magical item, but we only got 1 affix. So that means we are losing, or we are missing on 1 more affix that can be applied on this item. Can we fix that? Of course. Now we can use an augmentation which augments a magic item with a new random modifier. Meaning, since this item is still missing an affix, I can use an augmentation orb in order to add a random missing affix on this item. However, if I click Alt on this item, you will see that this is a suffix. So the intelligence, like plus 12 to intelligence that we have, is a suffix. So that means I know when I use an augmentation orb, I am going to 100% get a prefix. Now, what prefix am I going to get? We cannot know that, at least in this simple crafting form. There are more complicated crafting forms that you can control stuff. However, in this scenario, in our basic crafting, we are doing just throwing blind stuff at it. And how did I get it to show this stuff? Let's talk about that real quick. If I go to option, and I honestly do not remember where it was. Let me remember here real quick. Oh, also, if you don't have sockets always shown like I have, so yours might be something like this. I have this always show sockets turned on in options and UI. I also have the large pattern instead of the default or small notches or whatever. I think default also looks a bit cleaner. I think I'm gonna leave it at that actually. I'm gonna leave it at that. It looks cleaner to me. Okay. I want to offer promotion? No thanks. So we were talking about the advanced tooltips thing, which should be show full descriptions. This is also good. Remove only. Support gym utility pop-up. It should be somewhere around here, but I am not seeing it. It should be something like advanced description. Oh yeah. No, not show full description. Game. I don't think it's graphics either. Not notifications. It should be here in UI, but where is it? Map. Definitely not the map. Visual sensitivity, camera rotation, screen shake. I will turn that off. I don't want that. Secret notches, support gem. Honestly, I don't remember where it is to get this advanced thing. Let me Google it real quick. Oops. I close my code. I don't want to leak any code. Path of Exile, advanced tool tips. Okay, so it's an UI. And Damn, did they remove it or why is it always enabled now? It might be always enabled now if I can't find it. Well, anyway, this might be a task for you to do since I cannot find it. But like regularly, when you hold Alt on the item, you will see extended description of the item. We will talk about the tiers and the pool later on when we actually do a dedicated crafting video. But for now, just know that for this item or for this tier, to intelligence, we can have like plus from 8 to 12 to intelligence, and we already have 12, so this is the maximum roll for this tier on this item, so that's pretty good. However, when I use an augmentation, I am going to add a random prefix to this item. If I use it, okay, you will see now I get 18 plus increased energy shield. Again, if you remember from the armor that we had before, this 18 plus is not global, it is local to your energy shield, to your implicit energy shield on this item. So is this a useful item? I don't think so. 12 intelligence is not that great right now. It will only give me 6 mana, and it will give me also a percentage of increased energy shield, which I do not care much about. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use an Orb of Alteration, which is gonna completely reforge my item, meaning I am going to change the affixes that I have on this magic item randomly. It is uncontrollable, it is completely RNGesus. Let's one at it, and you get 28% increased energy shield, 13 increase or 13 plus increased stun and block recovery. I don't like this either, so I'm gonna just eat another one on it. I am kinda wasting currency right here on an item that is bad, but I'm just doing it to demonstrate like some basic crafting. One more and 9% cold resistance. Okay, not bad, not good, whatever. We'll just add these things right here. And we will go back to farming. Okay, so I said before that I'm gonna talk about the places that you visited, which do not have a waypoint like this area. So for example, the mud flats does not have a waypoint. It's not like I was there and I missed it. No, it just doesn't have. Now this one, the coast, has a waypoint and activated. That's why the white dot is activated or like turned on in the middle of the circle here. If it wasn't turned on, then that means this place has a waypoint, but I did not activate it. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to the coast, and I am going to go to the mud flats. All right, here we are. Now you'll notice that the enemies kinda respawned here, which is kinda scary for the mud flats because of the roars, but I do not care much because I am stronger than them and I am owning them. Goodbye. Now it is fun to toy with them a bit like that, but it is also dangerous, so if you don't know what you're doing, trolling might get you killed. But a little bit of trolling is fun as well. After all, it is a video game and it is meant to be fun. Now this dude is purely cosmetic, this flying bird. This is a cosmetic pet that you can buy from the microtransaction shop. And it supports the developer. And since it is a free-to-play game, and it is a great game. Oh, we gained a chromatic orb here. Nice. Since it is a free-to-play game, I recommend supporting the developers if you like the game, especially now that Path of Exile 2 is in development and it is very, very exciting. Path of Exile 2 looks absolutely amazing and I cannot wait to play it. So we were looking around here for the area that we should go to. It is supposed to be like a little cave area and you will need to put the items that you have here in order to open this area. Let's look for it together. This little boss spawned again, but that's fine. I am taking damage over time because of this curse here that he is applying on me, but that is fine. Now you'll notice we're getting a little bit more blue items here because I leveled up, and that is fine. But there is nothing that I need for now. Wow. That was uncalled for, my man. Alright, here we go. Now I already have the 3 items, so I'm gonna just click here and it will open the submerged passage. If I go to the submerged passage right here, we will be moving forward and you will see there is a waypoint on the left right here. Now I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna use a portal without activating the waypoint just to show you what it looks like on the map if I do not activate it, and you will see it like this. So you see the difference here. This means I cannot fast travel here, and this place has a waypoint that I did not activate. Now I'm going to take the portal back to spawn at the same area where I called the portal from, and I'm going to activate the waypoint. So now I can TP here, fast travel, or teleport, however you want to call it. Pick up these, my items are okay. I could have sold my items in the city while I was there, but it is fine. Die. I think I missed these guys 3 times. These striders, did I call them sirens before? I guess I still call them sirens. But these guys will randomly spawn out of nowhere. Okay, so here we will be talking a bit about, whoops. We will be talking a bit about where do we want to go from there. Let me just kill this this siren real quick. I love freezing. Oh, a yellow shield. Let's identify it. So since I don't need this wand anymore to socket my skills, I can just yeet it and this will automatically be my main hand, and I can use this shield, which is gonna definitely 100% be more useful than my wand, which is also good. Now usually what I do, I am going to try to get Frostwalker, which gives me a 25% increased, but notice here it is only cold damage, which is like the very first step of a specialization in elemental damage. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick up this 10% elemental damage, and then I am going to pick up Frostwalker and cold damage right here. And from then we will be talking about where we can go. Also, mana and life. If you're dying a lot and your life is a little bit low, you can pick up mana and life here, and that will be actually useful against the upcoming boss of this act, which is Act 1. I did not talk about the story and how the campaign is segmented. You basically have 2 parts. Each part is 5 acts. So it is, you have 10 acts in total, split by 2 parts. I am not going to explain anymore, so I do not spoil anything. Some blue sirens. They are no match for the freezing pulse. Gate. do not get hit by these things because they will chill you, and it is annoying in this little like crammed areas. Just keep moving. Alrighty. Arcane Surge level up. Yes, sir. Ow. Ow. I'll kill these dudes. By the way, we only have one skill as of now, but do not worry. The more you level up, even in the campaign, you will get access to more skills that are going to help you in combat in different ways. For example, I can get a curse, which lowers the elemental resistances of enemies, which means it is a direct increase to my elemental damage. So if I get it's called elemental weakness. If I get this curse right now, I don't think I even can because I do not meet the level requirements. But let's say that I do, and I get it, I can curse specific enemies, usually bosses, to lower their cold resistance, or like their entire elemental resistance. But I can use it to cold resistance, which will allow me to do cold damage, more cold damage to the boss. So this is an indirect way of increasing my damage, which in Path of Exile you will see room for creativity, like a huge room for creativity. Path of Exile is probably one of the only games that you can have a truly unique build that only you can have. But we're playing a very simple build here because I'm trying to explain to beginners. I don't claim that I am an advanced player. I am a bot, even though I have like 900 hours. But I am still a bot in this game and there's a lot that I do not know. But I'm trying to explain the things that will get you started into loving and actually investing time, of course, into this beautiful game. And once you are in love with this game, you will automatically learn and want to learn a lot of things about it, which is why Path of Exile is great. And it is filled with content, even in the end game, which is the main reason you want to play Path of Exile. We'll pick up Frostwalker here, which is going to give me a 25% increased cold damage, which is good. Suppress spell damage. Nah. Now these leapers are kind of annoying. I think they also stun you to an extent. This is a totem. This is an enemy totem, rather. You can have your own totems, but it mainly used as like red socket builds, where you have a lot of red sockets, or a lot of strengths, rather. And totems can do different things. They can buff you, they can debuff the enemy, and they can cast stuff for you. Like you can make him cast spells with a specific gem setup. So this is a waypoint here. I think this area called the climb, if I remember. The ledge, okay. So I picked up a flask, and I will talk about it in a second. This flask is actually a magical item now. So I have a magical flask, which is gonna have its own affixes. So you will see that it has 66% reduced amount, but it gives me instant recovery, which isn't bad. Grants immunity to chill if used while chill, grants immunity to freeze if used while frozen. Meaning, if I use this flask while I'm frozen, I will instantly get defrozen or unfrozen, I don't know, and it will free me. This, on its own, can save my life. Because being frozen in this game, especially when you get higher into harder content, it's a death sentence. So you need, I think it's a must-have at this point to have something that is immunity to being frozen. There are other ways to avoid elemental ailments. Like you can have some passive points and some ascendancies that will can make you avoid elemental ailments. This is like a mini totem boss, and he is dangerous. He is using a skill called Spark. You can also play a skill like that, just random sparks, and it is lightning damage. But also he has this big lightning shock. I'm just gonna sit here and spam. I'll tank it. I don't care anymore. Well, I'll avoid it when I can, I guess. So we avoided that. We killed the dude. Pick up this portal. I wanted to hit this totem. Can I even reach it? Yes, I can. Okay. Spirit shield. Let's compare with the one that I have. So if I hold control, I can compare it to the currently equipped item of the same type. So I see this shield gives me 11% increased spell damage. My equipped one, which is gonna be on the left side here, gives me 15. So my equipped one is better. Maximum life. So this one gives me life, but it makes me deal less damage overall. Do I want it? Nah, I don't. I'm okay on life. Get away from me, man.
Fate smiles with sharp teeth.
Okay. Get cold damage. Oh, there's the climb. Alright, we're moving forward, trying to get to this area. Now, I know I missed an area here. I can go back to it, or I can keep going. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep moving forward until I find a waypoint. Then I'm gonna activate it and teleport back here in order to go back to the missing area. The missing area is gonna give me an optional objective, but what I always said is there are no optional objectives in Path of Exile. You should always do all objectives because they will give you passive points, or some of them will give you passive points in order to gain more, well, passives on your passive tree, which is gonna make you stronger, obviously. I picked up an Orb of Chance there, which I will talk about in a second once we get back to town. Which, well, from its name, basically, it upgrades a normal item to a random rarity. So it can upgrade your normal item to magic, blue, or rare, which is yellow, or even a unique, but it has a very, very low chance of doing that. But if you want to try your luck, just eat a chance orb and who knows. Do not let these guys leap if you can stop them. But I don't care much because I can instantly slow them down when I hit them with free spells. So here's the waypoint. I'm going to activate that, and then I'm going to TP to the submerged passage and look for the optional area right here. Now you will notice that my objective says talk to Tarklea for your reward, but I don't need to go back to the city to pick up new quests, basically. And this is one of the best things about Path of Exile. Once you are playing, you play enough, and once you know objectives and what you're doing, then you will not. There will not be any slowdowns, or like come back and talk to me so you know what, or you pick up what to do next. Now, I got pretty lucky here, and you see this little door icon, which means this is probably the area that I am looking for. And it is the flooded depth, which is the area that we are looking for. If I click U, I am there. Now in the flooded depth, if I remember correctly, there should be a boss that we need to kill. Now open chests while you're running. I don't think you should get out of your way to open them, but I got lucky before and I got a very, very, very good item. Or currency rather. I got an exalt from a chest before. So what is an exalt? I know, but I'm not going to answer that right now. But it is one of the most expensive currency items that you can get in this game. Keep going, keep going. Kill these dudes, pick up scrolls. Oh, it's pick up scrolls. You cannot have enough scrolls, basically. Chromatic orb. Rotation. We are looking for an area to enter here, which is gonna have the boss in it. So I'll just keep running around looking for it. Armor scrap. Oh, there it is. Actually, it was not a hidden area. I was just chilling there. So this Dweller of the Deep is a boss that we are... I don't want to call him a boss. He's not a boss. He's a, I don't know, a mini boss or something. But he's basically a big old crab that you can easily kill if you just keep moving and don't let it hit you. Now a circlet and a vest. Let's pick them up and identify. So what I did there is I right clicked on the scroll of wisdom and then I held shift and just left click. So when you hold shift, you will keep the item attached to your cursor. So you can lose it multiple times instead of having to go back and clicking. So this dude, I am not going to change my armor, even though this is yellow, because I want the sockets. So this guy, intelligence, and it's definitely better than my white helmet. You will notice now I have a green, sorry, what is this? A blue shield around my health, which is the energy shield that we talked about before. 90 mana, so this is better than my mana. So what I have is my strongest life on 1 and my strongest mana on 5. And then in the middle, usually some utility flasks. But since I do not have that many util flasks, I am just keeping it. Since I finished the Dweller of the Deep here, I'm gonna TP back to town and then use the waypoint to teleport to the climb back again where I was last. Let's talk to this dude and maybe we can get a new skill. I don't need any of these, honestly. I'm just gonna pick a random one, but Frost Blink is not bad. And this is the reward for killing Dweller of the Deep, which is a passive point. Pretty good. Okay, so from here we can start talking about your build. Where would you want to go from here as a cold user or a cold player, a cold damage player, or build, or whatever you want to call it? So what I always do is I go here, go through life, this life mini node, and go all the way up to this big node of cold damage, which is the strongest increase to your cold. Like this is basically cold damage nodes specified for cold damage, and then you have this one for lightning and this one for fire. So I will keep going the way that I marked. I will pick up this elemental damage, this intelligence and life and intelligence and so on. So is there an easy way of planning your build before getting into the game? And the answer is obviously yes. Of course there is. If I go to my PC and I'm gonna open a program called Path of Building. You can download this program for free. It is this open source on GitHub if you are a technical dude. And Path of Building is basically a way to make builds for Path of Exile. You can click on New, and you will be greeted with the latest version of the passive tree. On the top here, you can choose your character that you want to play with. I am a witch. And you can just give yourself your passives right here, and you will see your full numbers on the left side right here. You can add skills, and these are all the skills that are available in the game. You can even have items, and these items, how do you add an item? Oh yes, from here. So here, these are the unique items, and you can also craft an item, which is gonna let you choose from the stuff right here. I'm not giving the Bob or passive building POP. I'm not giving a Bob tutorial, but basically showing you that this option exists if you will be a nerd or a passive exile nerd and do that stuff. So what I was talking about, my path that I'm going to take for now is going this way, picking up this life wheel, or this mini life wheel, because there's a bigger one that is around here, if I remember, a bigger life wheel. I do not remember exactly where it is, but just trust me, bro, it is around this area. So I'll be going this way, and then I will be taking every node here, which gives me cold damage and increased chance to freeze enemies. Alright, enough Bob. Let's go back to the game now.
Welcome.
I'm gonna sell the items that I don't need, which is basically every item that I have. I'm going to my stash, and I am going to store these guys. Now, Frostblink. Frostblink is one of many movement skills that you will be using. However, I hate it.
Stay sharp out there.
I do not like Frostblink, and I'm gonna use is Flame Dash. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to search for Flame Dash, which I still do not have. Interesting. So I do not have it yet unlocked. My skill is not, or my level is not high enough. I'm going to destroy this item. I don't want it. And I'll just use Frostblink then. I basically set it to my queue. This is all personal preference. You feel free to change these
While we live,
hotkeys from your input menu and the options. Is there anything that I can craft? I don't need to. Alright, let's go back to the climb and continue walking so we can finish Act 1. So Frostblink will allow you to TP, leaving like some cold area on the ground. It is very good for me since I'm using cold damage. However, I like Flame Dash because it is faster and you can queue up 3 uses of it. But Frostblink is also good for movement and damage as well. Like you can TP out or in and you will be dealing cold damage around you, which is very good for a cold damage player, but it's just a personal preference for me of using Flame Dash. Now, this is a shrine. I forgot to explain this. The shrine basically has a power, and when you click on it, you will claim that power to yourself. Now you'll see that I am spontaneously and just keep spawning these chilled grounds or ice novas happen around you. I don't like shrines, so I'm just gonna right click on it to disable or end its effect basically. I don't like shrines because they add more visual clutter for me. Like they make it harder for me to focus on who's hitting me and what is coming my way. It makes me feel that I am the one being hit, not the one hitting. More lore stones. Again, I will keep skipping that. And we move up to... Oh, this is the ledge. So we went the opposite way, actually. The ledge is the way back. I want to move forward, so I should be going north instead of south. All good. We will keep moving forward. Oh, I'm missing a ring slot, so I'm gonna pick this up, which gives me 30 maximum mana. No problem. Oh, I forgot to talk about the slots, but I think you can figure it out. You have like a weapon, like 2 weapon slots, or a weapon and a shield. Or if you're a bow character, you'll have a bow and a quiver. Or if you're a 2-handed melee, then you can only use 1 weapon, which is gonna equip both slots. Then you have a helmet, armor, or like a chest piece, a belt, which we have not found any yet, gloves, boots, 2 rings, and an amulet. Don't forget to use your flasks. They are very useful and they recharge as you kill enemies. So pretty good. I'm always spamming my life flask whenever I feel like I've taken a few hits. Just to keep my health on top of things, preparing for a big hit if it ever comes my way. Get these dudes. Oh, this guy is very annoying. He's gonna using Toxic Rain on you, which is basically it deals chaos damage over time and poisons you. But I am lucky that I have Freezing Pulse, which is basically freezes him, and it takes a lot away from his danger. He's not that strong or not that scary, but he is kind of scary. So you should not like be standing still trying to fight this guy. And these leapers, they are also very annoying. And they'll just be annoying to hit. Get away, man. And then you have a boss here, which I can just juke around. He's gonna leave like some ground that will deal burning damage, but I can tank it and just kill him while I have the chance. Get a passive point. We already talked about the way that we will be going, so we do not need to discuss the passive tree as of now. So let's talk about how can a beginner work the passive tree. Honestly, I think you should not look further than what the options you have available. So from the point where you're standing, so I'm standing here, I can go here or here. Or here, or here, of course. So I would ask myself, which one would I want for now? Also, you will find a wheel that has some related notes next to it. So this is a life wheel, for example. Do I want more life or more mana? Do I want to go for a nearby wheel? For example, do I want mana and block spells or not? So as a full beginner, you might not know what every wheel does, but just ask yourself, would I like more life? Yes, I do. Life is always pretty good. And also this one gives you plus 5% to all elemental resistances. Pretty pog. I love that. So yeah, we will be going this way. So from here, I'm just going to take this life node and completely ignoring the rest because I have a rough idea about what they're doing, but I'm not getting into every detail into it. Why is this good? Because otherwise you will get very, very overwhelmed and you will trying to get what's best right now. It will be very tough.
And call such a place home.
It'll be very tough for like a beginner, someone who hasn't used the passive tree before, to get the best. And again, I'm gonna say what I said at the beginning of this video, or the stream in this case, I guess. When it becomes a video on YouTube, it will be a video. That Path of Exile is an experience, or you gain experience in Path of Exile by making mistakes. Now, here's our first trial. So, what is a trial of ascendancy? Basically, every character has 3 ascendancy options that you can choose from. These ascendancies specialize your character into specific thing. For example, as a witch, I have an ascendancy option of an elementalist, which gives me more spell or elemental damage. And since this is exactly what I want, this is what I'll be. I'll be an elementalist, right? There is another option of being a necromancer, also as a witch, So if I was using minions, like summoning skeletons or zombies and stuff like that, I will be a necromancer. Pretty good. Now, it is passive exile, and this might not always be, like, it might not always be this obvious, because you will find builds, a more complex builds, that will be focused maybe on defenses through ascendancy and offense through the passive tree, or the opposite way around, and like mixing and matching offense and defense based on the character that you have and the ascendancy that you will get. It is like a lot more complicated than what I'm explaining right now. However, like I said, we will always take it slow, and we will be using the beginner way, the most easy, obvious, easy to understand way, until we are a bit more seasoned in the game. So we have a trial of ascendancy here. You will come across these randomly, or not randomly, they are set like on specific places. I'm not going to spoil it because it will be boring. So just feel free to explore every area where you go to looking for these ascendancy trials. When you complete them, you will have the biggest trial, something called the labyrinth lab, and you will be finding a boss which is gonna unlock ascendancies for you. And then to gain ascendancy points, which are like passive points only for your ascendancy, you will need to complete that lab multiple times on multiple difficulties. And I am not going to talk more about ascendancy for now, but basically the trial is just a bunch of traps that you will have to get away from. So we activated this lever, it opened this locked door. So what I'll do now is I'm just going to go back through the spikes, and I'm going to TP. I cannot TP because the spike hit me, whatever. I'm going to TP here. You can just tank it most of the time with your flasks. So just make sure you have flasks and just tank the damage. It is fine in most cases, at least. And just kill the dudes here. You don't have to. Once you click on this plague, you will be done. But I'll just kill these dudes for the chance of getting items and experience. Now let me just freeze this guy in place and kill him slowly and steadily. A better amount of weight. This large is better than this medium, right? So yeah, this is better. And I'm gonna click this.
Belief is the strongest metal of them all.
Alright, now Izaro is the boss that you will be fighting at the end of each lab in order to gain your passive ascendancy points, or ascendancy passive points. You have a portal that spawns whenever you activate this plague, and this portal will take you to the start of that trial. Alright, we did the portal. All these dude, pick up the silver coin that we did not talk about. And we did not talk about the league mechanics at all, which is fine. We haven't seen any league mechanic here in this league, except the current league mechanic, which is silver coin, which you can use to open a portal, go to a place, and have some kind of League of Legends combat. I'm not going to talk about the league mechanic here. We got a Quicksilver, that's good, so I can have 2 Quicksilver. Oh, and it's even magic, which means it has 19 maximum charges, pretty good. So I'm gonna yeet to one of my mana flasks, and I'm gonna use these ones. Beginner's Basics. Equip a magic utility flask. Thanks. Let's hit the bad dudes right here. We have our portal right there. So we're gonna go to the upper prison. Alright, Tidal Club. destroy these dudes. Portal scroll, primitive staff, which is can be used in a vendor recipe to get a chromatic orb. Once again, because it has all the 3 socket colors and they are linked. I have to meet both conditions in order to be viable. Or I'm taking damage. Oh, I was bleeding. Someone caused me to bleed, which that's why I was taking damage when I'm moving. It is one of the debuffs that you can get in the game. And it is one of the most annoying debuffs because it can kill you really fast if you're not paying attention. It can kill you in 2 ways. One, you're moving and you don't pay attention that you're bleeding, and it will cause you to lose more health, or a lot more health, and you will see it right here. And this is one way it will kill you. The second way is, in order to not take damage, you have to stand still. And if you do that, you're most likely dead anyway from the mobs, because standing still is most likely a death sentence in this game. So how to fix it? Basically, you can get a stat or an affix on a flask that is gonna counter bleeding, or give you immunity to bleeding if used while you're bleeding, which is basically gonna cancel the bleeding stat that you have, or like heal you or treat your bleeding, basically. It is the same as this chill immunity that we have on this flask right here. Can you craft it? Yes, you can, but it is a little bit more advanced than where we are right now. So you just hope that you come across it as a drop. I know I'm bleeding and I'm running. I can tank it. And I also have my flasks ready. But I do not suggest you do that unless you know what you are doing. Always level up your gems if you can, because sometimes you will have gems that maybe you will not be meeting the requirements to level up. So you can just leave it on the right side here, like as a reminder, or you can right click the little notification here about the gem, which is gonna make it disappear, make the notification disappear, and then it will be like around here under your inventory, all the gems that are leveled up and are ready to be leveled up, basically. We can demonstrate this when my next gem levels up, whenever. So we're going here. I see the portal to go to the next area, the warden's quarters. Now here, if I remember correctly, we are gonna have a boss fight.
Ignorance brought you here, sister, to the one place where your talents are free to grow and be truly feared.
Okay, so this is Piety. It's like a key figure in the story. I'll not explain anymore. And we're gonna have a fight with Brutus right here. He's not hard, but it's not easy either, you know, so don't drop your guard. He has some very annoying mechanic, which is basically he likes hugs, but not the good kind of hugs. Chest. More chests. Why not?
Your crime is trespass. Your sentence is death.
Alright, there he is. Do not get hit by this under any circumstance. Now, like I said, he likes hugs. Now my flasks are almost complete, or are depleted, which I don't like. But we're still fighting. Alright.
Had you been my creation, brute, you'd not have fallen so easily.
True, true. If I was the one that created this brute, he would have probably survived. But I'm glad he's dead. Let's identify these items. Oh my. 29 strength, 11 intelligence, global critical strike chance, maximum energy shield, maximum life, maximum. I mean, it's definitely better than mine, but I don't think it's very useful for my build. Regenerate 3.2 life per second, reflects 9 physical damage to melee attackers, also meh. And I cannot replace it because it does not have 3 sockets.
My loyal Declan.
Some more,
Give our lady
okay, I did not skip that fast enough. But I'm skipping all the lore, so I do not spoil any story related stuff.
dash of rock.
Can click on them. I'm just clicking on them to show you kinda where they are. And we go out to Prisoner's Gate. This is not the end of Act 1. We still have to fight one more boss, which is the Act boss, which is Merveil. Now, of course, you'll see that I should go back to Lionel's Watch to get a reward, which I'm actually going to do because that will give me Flame Dash, which is very good for me. And who knows, we might also get another support gem, which we will not be able to use, but maybe it will be useful, you know. So body swap, Flame Dash, which is what I want, and sell the items that I do not need. Flame Dash, let's replace Frost Blink. Put it on Q. Sell items, yes. Nessa, what do you have, honey? Added lightning damage. Combustion, super skill. Oh, this is fire damage, okay. Void manipulation. We do not have cold damage. Which is sad. But I'll just choose a random one, sell it because I don't need it. And we will take a look at the gems available to us right now by talking to Nessa, actually.
Hello.
Okay, so there should be a skill called, yes, there it is, added cold damage, which is a green one. So cold damage is actually green. Like if you want to support it, basically. Which is bad in our case because we do not have like many green sockets. We can fix this by becoming another type of damage, which could be arc. If we have lightning damage, I do not have arc unlocked, unfortunately, yet. But when we do, I can switch to arc, which is basically let me go from cold damage to lightning damage.
Take care.
But 40, we already picked up the Frost Walker. Does that mean we should get Lightning Walker instead? That would be correct. Yes, we could. And that will also mean that I should not proceed further because that will require more refunding later on. So what I mean is I cannot refund Frost Walker because it is in the middle of a link, like a chain. So what I need to do, if I was going to refund, I would have to refund these and all of these and then start from here into Lightning Walker. Am I going to do that? No, I'm not. Am I going to change to Arc? No, I'm not.
Greetings.
So
Stay sharp out there.
we will stay with Freezing Pulse, but I wanted to show like more skills. But since we already picked up our passives, and if you're following along, I do not want to throw you. So this is Flame Dash. You basically TP into the area. It is faster than Frost Blink. And you leave a ground of burning, or like you burn the ground under you, which is gonna cause fire damage over time to enemies. But it doesn't really matter. Mostly I want the movement. Alright. Let's try to go to Act 1, the boss of Act 1. You do not have to kill every mob you come across, but I'm doing it just trying to show off as many mechanics as possible in the game. So Flame Dash leveled up. I'm gonna click that. Now you'll notice here that Freezing Pulse cannot be immediately leveled up because I am missing a requirement which is level 16. If I click C, you'll see that I am level 13, and to upgrade or to level up my Freezing Pulse, I need to be level 16. But it is annoying just having all of these gems sitting right there, all these notifications. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna right click on all of them, and that will send them right here, which whenever I reach level 16, I can level them up right there. Alright. Oh, we also got a passive coin that I did not spec, which I'm going to do right now. I love freezing. It makes some very tough fights really easy. But the higher bosses are gonna have like a higher resistance to elemental ailments in general. But if you have a build that is based on elemental ailments, then it is also viable. Now this guy, it looks like he is resistant. Oh, he has extra life. Okay, so he's not resisting my cold damage, so I can just freeze him and think. Oh, our first belt. Let's identify it. Regenerate 1 life and carry to maximum life. Oh, hell yeah, bruv. Why not? Pick up the portal. Oh, do not let them surround you like that. Utilize the range of Freezing Pulse. Silver Crane, God Hide Boots, and the recipe, and this is a quiver, which can only be used if I'm using a bow. Notice that I'm saying it can only be used if I'm using a bow, not it can only be used by a ranger. In Passive Exile, there are no hard limits. Ooh. So here is one of many mechanics that you can encounter in the campaign, and this is Eval area. So Eval area, it's a corrupted area basically, which is going to add some modifiers to the monsters in there, and there is a boss at the end that will also be a bit tougher than like your regular run-of-the-mill boss. But at the end you have a chance of getting Val gems. Now Val gems are special gems, or a special version of normal gems, which is gonna have an extra stat to it. I will explain this more in my in-the-game video, which will be coming right after this one. So stay tuned for that. But we will do this Val area because it will give you some good XP. And I will also see if I can get a good Val gem. Maybe I can give like a brief description before my next video. Destroy these dudes. Kill the snakes. Unbound ailments. Oops. Support skill did 10% more damage with ailments, 30% effect of non-damaging ailments. So what is non-damaging ailments? It is basically shock or chill, because burning or ignite is a damaging element. So basically it is an elemental ailment that does not directly deal damage, but rather have a status effect on the enemy. So shock lets the enemies take more damage while they're shocked from all sources. And chill slows down the enemies and makes them more susceptible to being frozen. But slowing down is very, very good, because it can make like a very fast hitting boss much easier. Like take for example the Roas. that were like just bull rushing you in the area before. So this is the Val boss. I think I can tank him. And I am just going to spam his ass. So this is the Val vessel. When you click on it, you will get some Val items, which are corrupted items. I'm going to explain what corrupted items are in a sec. But you also get some Val gems, which are basically normal gems, but they have a Val stat to it, which is an extra attack, a very powerful short attack that you can do with that specific gem. If I use an example, actually, let's wait for it until I explain the in the game video, or I make the in the game video, which will be much better. So Iron Greaves, of course, I'm gonna swap it and get a corrupted item. So what is a corrupted item? It is basically an item that you cannot craft further on. By normal means, at least. There are some exceptions, but most commonly you will not be able to change the stats on the items whatsoever. So this is what a corrupted item is. Now, why would you want to corrupt an item? And can you even corrupt an item yourself? Yes, you can. But when you corrupt an item, you have a chance, or basically change the item unpredictably. And there are some stats on an item that can only be gained if you corrupt the item. How do you corrupt an item? There is a currency called a Val Gem. We have not seen it yet, but it basically, you just use it like a transmute or a wisdom scroll or anything on the item you want, and then you just pray to the gods that you get the stuff that you want by corrupting your item. You can also corrupt a gem usually used on a level 20 gem with a chance to turn it into a level 21 gem, which is higher than the maximum achievable by normal means. So the max level of a gem can be 20. However, in some situations, you can corrupt a gem to be level 21. And in some builds and some gems, this is insanely good, and it is way worse, or it's very worth, because it gives you,
appear to be dining well.
because it some gems gain its power or get way more powerful from its levels. Going to activate this waypoint. We have Fairgraves here, which is a side quest that you can do, and you must, or not must, but you should do. But I am going to skip it on purpose just so I can, I mean, this video is already too long. How long is this video already? I think it's been like easily over an hour. Oh, it is 2 hours already. Alrighty. So I will just be skipping it, trying to move along. This is the area where you want to go for Fairgraves, but we'll just be moving along into finishing Act 1, like I promised. Silver coin, I'm not going to pick that up. I'm just trying to kill these guys on my way, because the boss fight of Act 1 is actually kinda hard. And my cold resistance is only 29%, which is bad. Why is it bad? Because the boss of Act 1, Merveil, focuses on cold damage, or deals a lot of cold damage. So getting cold resist is one of the best ways to make this boss fight easier. But I'll just go rocket, and if I die, I die. It will not matter since I'm not on hardcore. Let's keep moving. Also, the music of the game is beautiful. I'll try to stop talking so you can listen to this beauty. There we go. This is where we want to go. The Cavern of Wrath. This is the area where the boss, Merveil.
Welcome, husband.
Now, you'll probably get some story spoilers from Merveil. Like her story, why is she what she is. But I don't think it's major, like ground shaking spoilers. So it should be fine. Now I'll try to skip these mobs here. When you're playing, feel free to kill them all. And explore the areas. I think it is very fun when you do it for the first and even the 10th time. But for me, I just wanna move along. I don't want this video to be super long. 2 hours. I think 2 hours is pretty long. It is way longer than my attention span. But there is a lot to talk about, and we've only scratched the surface with this video. I see the portal icon, so it's probably around here.
I'm so cold and lonely. Embrace me. I wait for his return.
Yeah, she's creepy, I know. But when you know her story, it is a little sad. Now, there is like, I don't know if you can call it an Easter egg or not in this map. Or like in this area. Well. I think I'll let you discover it on your own. You will need to explore a bit, and well, that's it. I'm not saying anymore. So this is the boss, the area of the boss, and we'll just dive right into it. I don't think I'm ready. I'm not even close to being ready, but I'll try to kill her, being underprepared. Oops. Fortunately, Merveil has cold resistance, so cold damage might not be as effective against her, but that doesn't mean it is undoable. And also we are very underprepared with our items, our resistances and stuff, but I am dodging her well, which is giving me a good advantage against her. Now, her first phase is dead, or like is done. Now this is her second phase. It's a little bit annoying. It's not necessarily harder. It is just way more annoying. Do not stand still. Do not tank her. Oops. Now maybe you will have some mana issues. Here if you're not getting, if you don't have like large enough flasks, like me right now. Because I'm using 2 quicksilvers. I don't think this is good for a beginner, because I did that so I can skip or like move faster through the maps. But here I think you should have 2 mana flasks and 2 life flasks. Alright, we're kinda winning. I should not have said that, but I think I killed Merville enough times to be able to kill her on the record.
Poor fishwife. 'Twas love that did this to you.
Wow, but you don't have to be so mean, witch. What did she drop? Let's see, this helmet. Dexterity, life, light resistance. Meh. Let's see this goat horn. Physical damage. Add 1 to 21 lightning damage to spells. Nah. What about these boots? Nope. Okay, so nothing good. And just like that, oh wait, there was a...
Gave me the gem.
Oh, I clicked on the die, right? Okay. So the Risso gave me the stuff
It's
is...
nice to see there's still some life in this twitching corpse of a continent.
And if you click on this waypoint now, you will see that we are in Act 2 now. So we finished Act 1 successfully after killing Mervale and going through the caverns. You'll notice that there is one area here that I did not explore. This is the area where you'll have to go to for Fairgraves, if you remember. I said that I'm going to skip that. Now, I think you should go back to town and you will probably gain rewards for killing Mervale, I remember. There is some stuff that you can choose here. There's Arc, which is one of like the very old niche OG builds that you can play. Which you get Arc and then you stack lightning damage with Elementalist Ascendancy, which is like one of the first, like as a beginner, it is, I think, the first build that I ever played. So this Arc spell will always have something special, will be special in my heart. And just sell these. Alright, so this is it. This is Act 1 in Pass of Exile. I think we talked about everything that that a beginner kinda needs to know in order to get started in the game. This is not a full guide on Path of Exile because we cannot do that in one video. We cannot say like let's teach everything about Path of Exile. That is super hard and there are stuff that will be missing. However, we talked about the things that will let you get started in the game, like get your feet in. You have to get your feet wet in this game in order to learn it pretty well. So on defenses, basically we did not talk about resistances, but resistances are basically work the same way you would think they work. So fire resistance, it is your resistance to fire damage. Cold and lightning resistances are the same. The maximum capped resistance is 75%, and your resistances will take a hit while you're going in the campaign due to some like major events in the campaign. I'm not going to spoil that, but anyway, you want for end game you want to cap resistances. You want to have 75% of fire, cold, and lightning. Chaos resistance is your resistance to chaos damage, which is mostly shown like green poison kind of stuff. If you remember the skeleton that was using toxic rain, that he shot arrows in the air and they landed as projectiles, this will deal chaos damage. Before, previously, chaos damage was not that important. However, it is becoming more and more relevant in the newer content in the end game stuff. So I would say do not get out of your way to stack chaos resistances. However, it's almost a must to cap your resistances your fire, cold, and lightning, or your element resistances. Then you have armor, which is basically your resistance against, or not resistance, but rather damage reduction. Or actually it is resistance, because the element resistances are the same. They are basically elemental reduction to elemental damage. Your armor is your reduction or resistance against physical damage, like hits from swords and melee attackers, and also there are some spells that deal physical damage. I think this is mostly it for getting started as a passive exile gamer. We talked about flasks, we talked about gems and item types, we talked about the very basic type of crafting, we talked about the support gems and active gems. Active gems give you skills to use. Support gems modify the way these skills are being used. They either add stats or completely change the way they work. The more well, just read the support gems. It will tell you exactly what it does word for word. And one more thing, making mistakes is a must in Path of Exile. If you do not make mistakes, you are not going to learn. If you feel the game is very overwhelming and you don't want to mess with this passive tree, I suggest you go watch a build guide. There are a lot of people that are doing great guides on the internet. Just search for it. And it will take the hassle of working with the passive tree, because you will just follow what the other guys have been doing. And they will probably give you a link to a passive building build. What you want to do is go to new and then create a new build, and then go to import export, and here to import a build you can enter a paste bin URL or the code itself for the build and click import, and this will import the build into your passive building. So you can click on tree and see like what the build wants you to go for. You'll also see some items and the skills that you'll be using. You'll see everything about the build. If you don't want to do it yourself, and you can learn by just playing the game and being guided. For me, that was not the way. I did follow a lot of build guides. My arc build was actually following a build guide, but I feel like I would have learned much easier if I did mistakes myself, and that's what I started to do. And I think I learned quite a lot about the game, just making mistakes, completely destroying my character, and then starting to do new one from scratch and just fixing those mistakes as I go. So thank you for watching. This is the first video of many that will be talking about Passive Exile, and I hope to see you in the next one. Cheers.